Well, hello, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I have video posted up here, but I'm going to be working on this Bobcat S185, and I've got an air conditioning issue, and so we're going to be installing a new compressor and a receiver dryer on this beast, and then we'll be getting it charged up and hopefully fix the problem. So if that's something that you're interested in seeing, stick around, it's coming up. All right, so had an issue with air conditioning not wanting to work, and I started checking some voltages to just see if I was getting what I needed at the compressor for the compressor clutch to close up, and come to find out I was not. So basically I'll pull this connection off, and I checked for voltage whenever the switch came on, and I did not have it. So what I ended up doing in order to figure out what exactly was going on is come over here and lifted up the cab. So go ahead and do that. And underneath the cab, back up here in the left corner, is your receiver dryer, and there is a pressure switch right there in the blue, and that pressure switch is for low pressure. So if you have low pressure, it basically disconnects the circuit and will not allow the compressor clutch to close. So what I did was bypassed it. I just disconnected it, put a little jumper in there, and then when I hit my switch, if I had good connectivity with my wiring, then I would be able to close out the clutch there on the compressor. So that's what I did, and I was able to get it to close, but I found another problem. So let me put the cab back down and I'll go through that process and you'll see what we have. All right, so I'm in the cab here and I've got my code and everything put in, and I'm ready to start. I've got my fan in the first position there. You can see my air conditioning is off currently. When I flip this, I'll get my green light, but I really can't determine what's going on back there behind us. So let me go ahead and start the machine, and then we'll be able to hear. Got the machine running, and what I'm going to do is just turn my air conditioning on, and you can hear the squall. So what's actually happening is the compressor is locked up. So let me slide around here to the back of the machine and let you see what's going on. You could obviously hear that, and what you're hearing is my belt in there trying to turn the clutch, which it was turning the clutch, I guess, but the center of the clutch itself is locked up. So that's where we're at. On the videos, we're going to be replacing that compressor, and I've already got a new one in, shipped in. It's over here on the bench, so let's slide over there and take a look at it. All right, so I ordered my new compressor through the All Skid Steers website, and I got it right here. I also was told by an air conditioning guy to make sure to replace the receiver dryer as well. So I went ahead and got a new one of those. Let's see what we got here as far as the pump goes. All right, there's our new pump. And looks like it's got a little bit of the packing on there I need to get cleaned off. Connector looks good. All right, I'm just gonna kind of verify that we got exactly what we need there. Yep, I think it's correct. Okay, so that's my new pump. I guess at this point, it's just time to go ahead and knock the other one off. I'm going to crack the system open. There's a little bit of pressure in there, so I'm just going to knock that off, and then we can get right into the replacement. Really not a whole lot to it, I don't guess. We're just going to loosen up the brackets and get the lines off of there and get the new pump installed. Once that's done, then we'll slide over underneath the cab and we'll do that receiver dryer as well. So let's flip over to time lapse and watch it all happen. All right, so you watched me get the old compressor off of the machine and up back over here to the bench. I've got my new compressor, and like I mentioned earlier, I want to make sure that everything was identical here. So I've got got them laid out here next to one another, and just wanted to confirm that everything is good and the same, and it is. So no issues there. I went ahead and blew off some of that packing that was around the clutch area right here and got that squared away. So anyway, I guess at this point we can just slide back over to the machine and go ahead and put this new one in place. There's really not a whole lot to it. It took me, the time lapse went pretty quick, but literally 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get that old one out. So let's go in reverse order. We'll put this new one back on here, and then we'll slide over to the next component. All right, so you just saw me finish up putting the compressor on there. Again, it didn't take a whole lot of time at all. One piece that I didn't show in the beginning was taking off this side cover right here that's over your belts. And I'd already done that because I was diagnosing what was going on with it. So you got this little spring clip, and there's another one right there that you pull off, and then that whole shield will come loose. While I had all that apart, I did put new belts. Drive belt, which runs from the crank back over to the hydraulic pump that's up in the front side of this motor, and then of course my AC belt, and then over here on the right, right back in this cavity is your alternator belt, and all that has been replaced at this point. So anyway, back to air conditioning. Let's lift that cab up, and then we'll go ahead and get that receiver dryer pulled off of there and get it replaced. All right, so I've got my lift arms up, and I've got my safety latch in place there, as you can see. And you saw that time lapse as well. And I've got the cab up, and that will give us access to the receiver dryer right here. And there's not much to it, pretty straightforward process. 3/4 inch nut on either side here for the hoses. We'll pop those off, pull our hose clamps off, and slide the new one on in reverse order. And then this time we're gonna get rid of the jumper that I've got in here for the low pressure, and we'll plug it back in as well right here. And that way, when the guy comes here to pull a vacuum on that and charge it, everything will be in place and ready to go. So with that said, let's get the receiver dryer replaced. All right, so that was a pretty quick process there. Got the receiver dryer replaced. I did find something interesting. I don't know if it was anything to do with the failure of the pump back there, but inside, I believe this outside line right here, there was no O-ring. So on the end of those lines, they've got an O-ring that pushes in there and seals up, and it was non-existent. It hadn't disintegrated or anything like that. It was just simply gone. So apparently that had been cracked open or something at some point in time. So that's going to be a leak point. I mean, there's literally no way for that refrigerant to stay inside there. So I did have some O-rings, and I'll put one on there so you can see that little lip right here. This is the old one, and that O-ring is around that lip. So once that's all tightened up, then you're sealed in really good. So got those, or that one O-ring replaced. The other one was fine, and it was lubed up good. There's one thing I didn't mention. You want to make sure you lube those up before you solder everything back together. And I did that there on the pump as well. So anyway, at this point, I'm going to make a phone call into my mechanic that does the charging of the system, and we'll get him scheduled and hopefully get him down here this weekend, and we'll get this thing charged, and then we'll give it a test and see how it works. It should work fine. All the hoses and everything look good. I don't suspect any issues with the coil or anything either. So anyway, we'll just wait on him to get here, and then we'll flip this thing back on and watch the process. All right, so I'm just checking the temperature here coming out of the vent prior to charging the system here. And it looks like we've got about 85 degrees Fahrenheit coming out. Got a little temperature sensor down here. Got my blower on, so my HVAC guy will be here shortly, and we'll draw this system down and get a charge on it. And then while all that's going on, we'll be able to watch the temperature here as it starts to charge. So anyway, just want to show that, and we'll get the thing charged up here in just a second. All right, getting everything put in here. Everything charged up. I'll be firing it up here shortly. So I got my ambient outside air temp at middle 70s right now. We got the system charged good, and I want to show you what's coming out of the vent temperature wise. So it's got my little lead right here. I put that in my air vent like so. Let's see what we get here. That's going to conclude the video here. S185 air conditioner issue. Hopefully you learned a few things. I learned a ton. So head her back to work now. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.